Hey guys, it's Front Row Phyllis, and we are backstage with the legendary rock band. I am talking about Toto. They are here on their 40th anniversary tour, and I happen to be with the front man. That's right, Steve Lukather. And can I call you Luke?
Yeah, please.
Okay. How are you?
There's two Steves in the band. That's how that started.
That's how it started.
Lukather, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not really, it's a band. I'm just standing here. I'm the front guy standing here right now.
You're the front guy that was appointed to stand with me.
I've been around the longest, I guess, who's consistently, so they shoved me here.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, I know too much. That's what it is.
Oh, are you going to tell us some of the dark secrets?
I'll have to kill you.
Yeah.
What do you want to know? I don't have any dark secrets.
No dark
I put a
secrets?
book out that tells a lot.
Yes. You did put a book
I
out
did.
just recently,
About
right?
a year ago, yeah.
Okay.
Did really well.
Did it?
I'm going to do another one, I think.
Are you? What are you going to call it?
I don't
Part 2?
No, the first one's called The Gospel According to Luke. Somebody jokingly said this should be the New Testament.
Right.
So maybe-
There's some funny stuff in there.
Yeah, man, it was, and you know, just to see the stuff that I couldn't put in there. But I'm not here to promote my book,
No.
but thank you anyway.
We're here to talk about, well, first of all, congratulations, 40th anniversary.
43 now.
It's
It's
43.
the last leg of the tour. October
It
20th
is.
in Philadelphia is the last time this is going to play together. I don't know when we're going to come back. I don't know. if we
Really?
are. You know, I mean, you know.
You never
we-
know.
Yeah, I mean, it's on indefinite hiatus. How's that?
All right. So, global tour for the past 2
Three.
years.
Three.
3
Almost
years.
three, yeah.
Wow. So, big difference in this tour versus so many of the other tours that you've
Oh
done?
man, you know, I've been doing this my whole life. So
Right.
this has been a very successful tour, one of the most successful live years we've ever had.
Really?
I mean, it's a lot of reasons. I mean, the Africa thing went crazy about 4 or 5 years ago, and it just snowballed into something that's hilarious.
Right.
I mean, we were Family Guy characters a couple nights ago. And it's like the pop culture thing. Just, I mean, we laugh at it as hard as anybody possibly could.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you know what the heck? We take the ride. A bunch of people. I mean, millions of people have covered it now, and every EDM guy started it. And there were some choirs that started doing it.
Which is so cool. I mean, just seeing everybody.
Yeah, there's a great acoustic guitar player, Andy McKee. Sorry, not McGee. McKee. He's great. And he did an acoustic version, and then Skrillex started ending his sets with it, and the EDM, and a bunch of these other guys. Somebody my son plays with, What's So Not, which is a big EDM band.
Okay.
You know, they started doing it, and then Weezer got a hold of it
Yes.
as a joke and kind of blew up in their face.
Blew it up, yes.
Yeah, so I mean, and then, you know, we got a lot of young people coming to our shows, and they realize we got like 18 albums out, and our
Right.
streaming and catalog have been going crazy. So
Right.
more people show up. So I mean, it helps everybody. Everybody wins. So I don't see it as any negative whatsoever. You know,
Big difference in.
silly song, honestly, but you know.
Did you have any idea when you guys wrote it?
I was the guy. We made this whole track before we knew what the lyrics were.
Really?
It was a huge, you know, exercise in overproduction. We were kids, early 20s in the studio having fun, and we made this wild track, hooky stuff, and then we heard the lyrics, and we're like, really? Okay. And it's been an enduring something that we would have never called in a million years. It's the weirdest song of our catalog, but
Right.
we love playing in front of people. I would never sit in my house and play it, but
Right, exactly. And is it so cool watching your fans? And I know it's hard to see when you guys are out there to, of course, sold out crowds, but when you see them singing the song or singing Rosanna or any of the
I mean,
songs.
it's just weird to be around the world. And
Right.
even people that don't speak the language
Right.
know the lyrics to the song. So
Right.
I don't know. It's a great honor. Something you sit in your living room in North Hollywood, right, and everybody around the world knows it.
Right, exactly.
Or you're a part of stuff like that. When we were younger, we were session musicians, and we
Mm-hmm.
played on a lot of hit records. And you'd be listening to the radio or out in public, and nobody knows you did it, but you know you did it. It makes you smile, you know.
Right. Or the first time you heard it. Do you remember the first time you heard it on the radio
Yeah.
or any of the songs?
Oh no! Well, you know, the first time I heard Toto on the radio was
Yeah.
"Hold the Line."
Okay.
And I was in my very first house, and I was a session guy. I was a young teenager, and somebody said, like, you know, turn on KMT, which was the local rock station
Okay.
that I grew up listening to.
Yeah.
And so, like, when it was on there, and I cranked it up, and I could hear it like it would sound on the radio with that extra compression and sound there was. This is 1978. I lost my mind. It was crazy. I ran around the house all excited. Going, we're on the radio. It's in Los Angeles, hometown. Everybody's going to hear us. Now, that was before it was a hit, you know, and then when it took off, it was like, that's the ultimate dream, I guess. And I blinked and 43 years went by.
Isn't that
That's why I
amazing?
have
And
the
you're
glasses.
23.
I have the glasses because I have no eyes left. They're gone.
Those are all gone. Is there a big difference in, around the globe versus the States in
Well,
fans?
There's more people over. I mean, we played a bigger crowd. I
Yeah.
mean, this whole summer was festivals doing 35, 50,000 a night headlining, so that was nice for us. Arenas in Japan, all over the world. But,
Yeah.
We're doing beautiful theaters like this in the
Yeah.
States, and, things have really turned around in the U.S. I mean, that was the thing that was the last, bringing that back up to where it once was, and it's been a pretty cool ride.
That's a very cool ride. So can we fast forward? Let's talk about, okay, this is a crazy number. I don't know if you know about this. Streamed over 1 billion times across all streaming services.
Yeah, well, yeah.
That's huge. All the platforms. You
Yeah, well-
guys have streamed over 1 billion.
Yeah, it's weird to think in terms of that sort of
Right?
numeration, I mean,
Exactly.
there's a lot of people on the planet that have heard this stuff, and that's weird to me. But I want to thank you, everybody.
Exactly. So now you are recently just released the latest album, which is
Well, it was a box set with a new
Right.
album in it called,
Right.
yeah.
So
And
how
that-
did you guys pick the songs that
Well,
went into
we
it?
wrote 4 brand new ones,
Right.
and then we found some pieces of stuff from the early days that were unfinished. And with today's technology, you can transfer it and work with it, and then we go, well, the reason why we didn't keep this is because it had a lousy chorus or something like that, and we rewrite something and insert it.
Right.
But still be able to use the original drum tracks and change the bass notes with the technology, and then we could record then what we sounded like with our early teenage 20-something selves,
Right.
and turn it into a new piece of music. So we did a bunch of that, and that was one full album. And then the rest of it is just stuff, that we remastered from the raw tapes and
Right.
added some things, some bonus cuts and some live stuff and 5.1 mixes. Sort of a 40-year retrospective. And now this is the end of the whole cycle, and what happens next is a big question mark.
Right. Are you ready to take a couple days off or a couple
I'll
weeks
be-
off,
I'll
right?
Be, I'll be living in Turks and Caicos for the next year.
Oh, that ain't bad.
No,
Really?
not for the next
That's
year.
where you can find.
No, I actually may go. That's one of my favorite places in the world.
Really?
I will vacation, but I can't. No, I got other stuff to do. A
Right.
full year of doing other stuff besides Toto.
Exactly.
And hey, here I am in Chicago. This
I
beautiful
know.
place is gonna be fantastic tonight.
Tonight is going to be
Yeah.
amazing, amazing. They have waited for you guys.
Oh, really?
So- yeah,
You've
seriously.
been waiting for me?
I have been waiting for you my whole life.
Really?
My whole life.
Yeah.
So,
You hear the
I hear the bells going off, is
Bells
what
are
I hear
ringing
the bells.
bells.
So, how
Yeah.
since you've been doing this for 20 years,
20 years.
yeah. So,
To the
how-
1st hour.
exactly. So, how has music changed over the past, I don't know, 40 years?
Well,
What do you think?
there's a lot of computerization.
Yeah.
Is that a real word,
Yeah,
computerization?
it is now.
I don't know. Urban dictionary, perhaps. There's a lot of, everything goes through a computer, so it can be manipulated. Back in the old days, even before my time, I mean, you just go in there and play it, and sing it, and that's, thank you, next. It's on the
Right.
radio Monday,
Right.
Like there's a great, you can see some great YouTube stuff of Frank Sinatra in the studio, and you realize at the end of the take, that's the record.
Wow.
The Beatles' early stuff.
Yeah.
Ringo tells me, "Oh, we just did it, and it's like the record in 2 days.
Right.
Side 1 and side 2. See you later.
Right.
And then we went through the 9 months on an album because you could.
Right.
You had the
right.
money, and none of us we want to live in the studio and record, and now it's cost effective, and things are different that way. There's a lot less money in the music business, but
Right.
those of us that can play live, that's where we thrive.
Right.
And the catalog, but I mean, things change. I can't just sound
Yeah.
like be some old guy.
No,
I'm not that guy. You just have to change with the times.
Right,
And
you totally
there's always
do.
an adjustment.
What advice would you give to the younger generation that wants to get into this business? Don't.
No,
No.
I can't. My
No.
son, my oldest son.
Right.
is
It's a
business.
great business.
It's hard to get into,
Yeah.
and it's really hard to have a long career. But if you're really passionate about anything in your life, whether
Right.
it's music or science or whatever,
Right.
be passionate about it. Find something you love to do, and try to figure out how to make a living doing it.
Right.
So you don't sit in traffic your whole life hating every moment of it.
Exactly.
That's my advice to my own children. It doesn't always work out that way, but you got to try when you're
Yeah.
young,
Exactly.
Oh, that's it. My
Look at
time's
that.
up.
The bells are going off again.
Exactly.
Can I have one last question? It's my trademark question, which is actually going to be fun for you. So if you were a groupie for any art, I knew you would like it. If you were a
Where are we
groupie,
going with this? I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
If you were a groupie for any artist, any band, any genre, dead or alive, who would it be for? And the groupie meaning just like a super fan. That's where that was.
Nice backpedal. Well, that gets me in a lot more trouble.
Yeah.
Who would I? Man, I've had a chance to work with most of my
I know,
heroes.
that's
You know.
why I'm saying. Is there somebody out there that's like, oh wow, I would love to? Beyonce, Rihanna, I don't know.
Oh, you
somebody
mean like
younger.
that?
Anybody,
Oh,
anybody.
those are all beautiful women.
See,
I mean,
I knew.
which reminds me, I have to put somebody on the list that I forgot about. It's not like that. It reminded me of something else completely. You know, man, I don't know. It's the same
There's
people.
a lot.
There's a lot of people.
I
Most
know.
of mine would be like Jimi Hendrix or something that would be
Right.
unattainable.
Right.
Yeah,
But they could be
purely
younger
from a
life.
hang standpoint. That's it. Okay, you understand that,
Right, exactly.
But you know, people like that aren't here anymore.
Right.
I'd love to hang out with Mozart and go, "What'd you think of the movie?"
yeah, right?
Because those guys were the rock stars of their era.
I know.
So I found it very believable, as campy and over the top as it was. I
Right.
thought, well, yeah, I mean, wouldn't they be the guys of the time?
Right.
You know, chasing the girls, partying, and
I think so.
allowed to get away with anything because they're so great at what they do in a world where normally you can't do that.
Right, exactly.
That's why I chose this, so I could be a complete asshole my whole life. And it would be okay. No, I'm just kidding.
He's so funny. Well, you know what? We could go on and on and on, but you got a show to do.
Yeah, I do.
I know. We got to finish this up. It has been a pleasure, and we cannot wait for tonight's show.
Right, well.
Live at the Chicago Theater.
There you go.
It's Front Row Phyllis.